Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. The final normal battle for Heroes Jubilee Blitz number 38 with no EX units allowed. Sorry, not sorry. I can't really do anything about that. If you just started playing 2 months ago and all you have is, the Primal Demon team and the new Velzard, can't use them. Sorry. You're going to have to use those 3 stars that you pulled that you haven't leveled up that are sitting at level 1 with nothing invested in them. There's nothing I can really do about that to help you. But don't feel too bad. The ranking rewards mean very little. There are no crystals. They're just tickets and ingots and motes that you probably can't even use. So don't worry about it. Disclaimer number 1 is your results are definitely going to vary based on what I have available in my box versus what you have available in yours. Just use this video as a guide. Don't take it for the gospel. There are improvements to be made, because I'm not number 1 on all of these. Disclaimer number 2 is these are the units I use for protection gauge, and these are the units I use for skill point gain. I'm not sure if I use the skill point ones for the stage, but no, I think I do. Never mind. I lied. But disclaimer number 3 is don't forget to go into your Town of Tempest and optimize your Earth building for your Earth nuker, whoever that may be. Probably not a lot of them, because Earth sucks. And Earth has literally the lowest number of countable units imaginable out of this entire game. It has 9 units less than Space and Light. 9! And that's like 3 full metas of just Earth characters almost, which is crazy to think about, for one. So, good luck. But let's get started. Alright, normal 3 is a weird stage, again, because there are no Earth units. There are no good Earth units that are not EX. And there's barely good ones that are EX. there's Guy, and now Jean. Congratulations. But it is 1 enemy throughout the entire thing. He does have, guard and physical resistance, so you want to use magic, which there are a number of magic Earth characters, surprisingly. And then he has Pierce and Pierce Power and Pierce Rate. So, I mean, cool, whatever. He doesn't have a lot of HP. And again, turn 3 is the maximum, but especially the Earth team has a bit of trouble doing that. But there are ways to get, reasonable amounts of damage out of this. And it is by using this team right here. So, we've got Veldora, once again. He's going to be used a lot in this Jubilee, because he's arguably the best protector out of them, besides Light Shuna, which we will also use in boss battle. And then we've got New Earth Veldora again, because both him and Milim are on the Exalted Champions meta, and he can change. And then we've got Milim for the Orb Change and the Alt buff. Space Rimuru, who is skill fused, so he gives the 40% attack and 30% alt resistance down. If you don't have him skill fused, don't worry, he'll just do less damage, but you can still use him. It's not like you need to take him off now. We've got the hero for the rewind and the crit, and then we've got Earth Mjurran, who is a defensive character, but she is Earth and Magic. But she does has that special ability where she can stat swap and take her 13.8k attack and make it her own, or defense, and make it her attack. And then she also has that, progressively stacking Earth damage buff, which is pretty shit here. Veldora, Protector, has the Earth damage charm on to enhance that small little buff, and just make Mjurran hit a little bit harder. Alright, so turn 1, we can just use Veldora's Orb Change. It's built for a double orange, so if you have Earth Aaron, you can bring her too, she'll work fine. It's just Veldora gives us the ability to change blues as well, which Milim does not. And then we'll bring in Mjurran. We'll send her first, because this thing is not very tanky at all. So we don't want to kill him too fast. And I want to go to turn 4 with this team, because that's going to ensure that if we get good RNG, we actually have enough power to use all of our buffs and then nuke properly. But here, it can work, so we're going to bring Veldora in for the hero. That's what we're going to do. And then we're going to use the reset with Protector Veldora. And that will allow us to use his Orb Change, which will just change the Milim Orb, because she's the only one on Exalted Champion, Mjurran is not. And then, after that's converted, we can use Milim's own Orb Change, and it'll hit the orange and blue Mjurran, which will give us a full hand of green. We can also use the 70% green gauge buff from Veldora. I wish it lasted for 3 turns, but it's only 2. I still think kind of Ice's buff is better, even though it has a debuff on it, but it is what it is. We're sending Mjurran first again, so she doesn't do too much damage, especially with that 200% orb and the magic buff that we've got going on. But that gets us her ult, and we've got 144 out of 145 points. So we'll use the stat swap now, so that's already applied to her when we're ready to nuke, and then she's not going to see the, she's going to be out until next turn. And if you want to run this team properly, you're going to need a perfect orb change right here, which thankfully we did manage to get. So we can see that we have an incoming green orb, so when we take Milim out, that green will come in, which leaves us with a blue, and an orange. So we can also orb change, or not orb change, but rewind, and that will give us the ability to get an extra stack in. And then we're going to use both orb changes here. First, the Veldora one, because it will only hit his 2 orbs, right? And then we'll change the hero orb with Milim, and then Milim will go away for Rimuru. That will bring that green in, and we have a full hand of greens, plus the rewind, which is giving us extra protection gauge, plus that 70% green buff from Veldora, which is still active. And then on the rewind, we just have to pray that we can get enough orbs to get to 165 points. That is the requirement, because that is what it takes to use 3 big-time buffs. So we have 3 greens that are buffed. We have access to Veldora, which is good. I don't remember if it's fully capped out for Veldora, or if it's 65%, but it will be relatively close. And if you did get like a lot more greens and you did max out your skill points, we could have used another skill to get Veldora actually up to 70%, but oh well, we could have used like Mjurran's heal or something, or the defense go with Rimuru. Honestly, does not matter. But we'll use the crit, we'll use the attack buff with Rimuru and the ult resistance down, and when we have 69 points, nice, and we can bring in Milim and use her ult buff, and then that will be, the most amount of skills we can use here. Veldora is at 65, so yeah, if we had access to one more skill, we could have been fully buffed up and would have done a bit more damage here. But we don't have any other orbs. We can't send anymore because we're going to kill, so we'll nuke. And she does 492,000, which actually is not terrible for a defense character. So that is my highest scoring team, 44.3 right there, 571,000 damage. It works fairly well. You just need a lot of RNG on turn 3 to get that perfect green send more than anything else. And now let's try some not-so-fun teams. Alright, next up is this Lumi and Towa team. Lumi being our other, single-target magic nuking character for Earth. Towa is going to give us those oranges, which is really going to help us get the ult for her. Octagram Lumi will give us probably just 1 stack of the 20% ult buff. Space Rimuru is here because he's got his skill fusion, his attack buff, his ult resistance down, just like we used the Mjurran team. If you don't have him skill fused, you can bring Dark Milim, first anniversary Dark Milim, and she will do not as much as a skill fused Rimuru, but more than a regular Rimuru, and you'll have an access to another orb changer technically. The hero is here for the rewind and crit, and then we're bringing Aaron for that turn 1 orb change coverage. So, we're looking pretty good. We'll go ahead and jump through this. Jump through this. Okay, OBS is freaking out on me. But we'll bring Aaron in turn 1 for Space Rimuru, and we'll orb change with her, and then we'll bring the hero in for Aaron, so we can rewind to turn 2, and then get her out of there. So boom, we'll send Lumi last here, because we're not going to go for 4 turns, we're going for 3 now, and so I want to do as much damage as possible, and I don't really need to manage his HP as much as I did with the other team that we were running. Did I get that twice in a row? I think I did. So we got a good hand right here, so we can rewind, and then we can bring Aaron in, and we could use her orb change, and that gets us, a full hand of green. That gets us her ult already, and we don't even have to use Towa here, which means that the rewind turn is going to be looking good, and we can just use it willy-nilly, because we don't need more than the 140 that we're going to get from, Towa to ult. So this is pretty much free damage right here, just to get his HP a little bit lower. And, I mean, yeah, technically it works. Let's use the stack of Lumi. The only stack that we're going to be able to use, realistically, because we don't have, like, a skill reset or anything. And then the AoE buff does not matter. Like, we already have her ult, and we're not using an AoE attack, so we don't need to use that at all. You could if you want, but it wouldn't do anything for you. So, sending 6, we're going to get his health down as low as possible. And after this point, we can't really hit him because Lumi will be too powerful. And now we'll go ahead and send it. So we'll bring the hero in for Aaron. We'll use her crit buff, and then we'll take her out for Rimuru. We'll use Towa, give us the extra 40 points, and that will be enough to allow us to use his buff, the attack and ult resistance down, and the magic buff from Lumi. So it's like a 30% up and down for Earth Lumi, I believe. Maybe there's a little bit of difference there. We're send one orb just in case. Yeah. And then 140k. So not 470,000 like Mjurran did on 4 turns, but oh well. If it's what you got, it's what you got. And again, if Rimuru is not skill fused and he only has the 40% attack, you could definitely swap him out for Dark Milim, and she will do more than what a normal Rimuru would do as far as damage is concerned. She'll do less than a skill fused Rimuru as far as support, but more than a normal Rimuru. And now let's look at some sad teams. Alright, number 3 is a blue-focused Protector Light Shuna team. So we are really going to go against, the Burst Steph and the Veldora. We're going to use a blue stacking team. So we've brought Water Rimuru to cover our greens and for his special conversion. We still have Aaron for the turn 1 orb change because that's kind of important. Light Raphael is going to be our damage support because we can stun this stage. So he can stun, he can give pierce and ult resistance down. Water Shuna has the ult damage, and she's got the orange converting. And then we once again have Earth Lumi as our primary DPS character. This is not a turn 3 team. Since we don't have the hero to rewind, we have really no way to do this. But we can do it in 4 turns. It's not terrible damage. It's just, not as much as you would want. Especially considering, the first team did 400-something thousand, and we're not going to get that here. But turn 1 is still the same. Full hand of greens. We'll bring Lumi in. We're also going to bring Shuna in because she'll give us extra skill points on turn 2. She also has, I believe, Water Shion underneath her, which is extra protection gauge on turn 2, which is nice. Lumi gives herself, I think, ult gauge for her trait, so I don't think she'll be hurting for ult. I could be mistaken on that. Let me watch her ult gauge right here and see if it goes up naturally. It does not. I don't know what her trait is. Don't worry about me. But we have a pretty good hand right here that we can change out of. So, right? Yeah, okay, yeah, we can, because we've got enough points here. So, Rimuru will come in for Aaron. She's no longer important. So we'll use his personal orb change, then his green, and then Shuna's orange, or, in that form. But we have to use Rimuru's personal change first to make sure we change that 1 orange orb. And now we'll get him out for Raphael. Full hand of blues, plus, 1 stack of Shuna will give us a decent amount of points back. And we'll continue sending this and attempting to get Lumi's ult, which is not very quick here. But if you can, get lucky and get some orbs, it'll look nice. And that is a very nice hand right there, because we have a double stack of Shuna here, which will put us up to 220 points. And that is exactly what we're going to need, almost exact, what we're going to need to nuke. Since we need to use the Shuna buff, the 2 Raphael buffs, and then Lumi's own personal little 15-point buff. So, if you want to try and use this team, but you want more damage, you could attempt to swap out Water Rimuru for Light Milim for her 45% attack buff, and she's got, the special kind of self-converting skill that Rimuru does. It's just that now you don't have a dedicated green orb changer, or green to blue at least, and that could be a bit rough right there. So, that's up to your discretion. If you do want more power, then sure, it's available. It's just you're going to have to try a little bit harder. So we've got 1 more stack of Shuna, but we do have enough points to full nuke here. So we've gotten as much as we possibly can out of this team now. and then we'll bring Raphael in, and we'll use all 4 of the buffs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he's already in red, so we can't do anything else. So we'll just go ahead and send the alt, and it's not terrible damage. We do 192, still not 470, but it's decent. It's also not 3 turns, so we're gonna lose a bit there too. But 39.1 right there, not terrible. Let's look at a fun team now. Hey, speaking of light Milim, we're gonna use her. So we brought Protector Water Chloe, which I guarantee you not a lot of people have used in quite a long time. Even if you just pulled her, you probably have not leveled her up. So let me tell you what she does. She raises your skill cap by 40 points, which is cool. She gives you a 40% alt buff, just herself. Awesome. And she also changes all orange orbs to green. Excellent. That's a lot of RNG taken out, and that's a lot of power off of a very, very old Protector. She was like February of 2022 or something like that. She was a little bit before her time as far as kits are concerned. She was very good for a while. But we are again nuking with Earth Lumi because you only have that or Mjurran. Take your pick. We brought the hero. We brought Milim. We already have the alt buff coming from Chloe, so that's covered. So we just have 2 orb changers now. Isis is here for the green buff and blues, which Chloe does not change. Aaron is here for turn 1 because we still need someone to convert those 2 oranges to greens to get Chloe activated to begin with. Now, you could have brought these skill point units to give us 42, and we could have used the Aaron orb change and the Isis green buff. I didn't really think that we needed it, so we didn't do that. So just the orb change with Aaron. We'll bring Lumi in. We'll also bring the hero in for Milim. Even though Milim, doesn't need to be in the back for her blue orb change, because we're not running a blue team, it's still kind of just habit that she exists in the back at all times until we need her. So, boom, 10k, alright. The hand that we get then looks pretty good. We have, a really good special convert from Dark Milim, essentially. But we have Isis. We have the rewind, so we can just lower his health down a bit more, get a few extra stacks of Chloe, or a stack of extra Chloe, and then we'll bring Isis in. We'll use her buff and the orb change, boom, and then we'll use Chloe to change that one lonely orange orb into a full hand of green. And the alt buff, I think, lasts for like 3 turns. It doesn't stack on top of each other, but it's there, and it'll be there for a while, so we don't really need to worry about it anymore. And then the rewind kicks in, and while we have used the Isis orb change already, so we can't change any blues here, we do get fairly lucky in this turn 2.5 hand where, we can change 2 of those oranges into 5 greens, and that will give us enough points to nuke properly. We only need, 125 technically to nuke with this team, so we're at 180, right? So we're way over. The alt buff, again, is still active. You can see it on our alt orbs right there. And now we just need to bring in, Milim and the hero. So we don't need Dark Milim here. We don't need Water Shuna here because we're already getting an alt buff from Chloe. So if you bring them, you're doubling up. And yes, while Milim and Shuna's buffs are technically higher, it's better to add more different buffs on than try and make one buff even higher. Better to have a variety. And so we'll use Chloe again. There's really no need to, but we'll go ahead and send 1 orb here. I could have sent 2, and then we do 115k, which is not that much, but again, this is the bottom of the barrel kind of team. So that is 4 teams that you can attempt to use to clear normal Battle 3 in this very, very wonky Jubilee Blitz. Let me know in the comments if you have any other team suggestions for this. Good luck as far as Earth nukers are concerned, but that's it for me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.